This one's going to be a little weird. I want to talk about something that I kind of have a slight personal experience with, and I just wanted to give a quick opinion on because I'm at least partially informed, if not entirely, Ozempic and the kind of obsession people have with trying to figure out if people's weight loss and results, shall we say, with or without Ozempic are legitimate. Oh, I rolled that way too soon. This guy cannot just be simply whipped to death because of that freaking palm blast. Alright, quick background. I used to work at a job where we had official work uniforms, and as such, they had to, ask you what your size was so they could provide it for you. And when I started there, I just, gave them my usual 32 by 32. And after a while, I noticed that my pants just kind of stopped fitting. And for whatever reason, it wasn't clicking in my head what was going on until one day I bought a pack of oatmeal raisin cookies out of the vending machine. And for whatever reason, I looked at the wrapper and it said 330 calories. And if you ever watched Men in Black, you know that scene where they're trying to talk to the dying man, and they push the button on and his head opens up and there's a little alien inside with the controls and whatnot. I like to describe it as the alien in my head suddenly slamming on the brake pedal and started to yell questions at me. How much calories are in a Snickers bar? Oh, 250. That's a lot less than 330, isn't it? Why are you getting fat? What is fat? It's excess calories, isn't it? How many calories are you eating? How many calories are you drinking? Should maybe you be thinking about this? And long story short, I lost about 40 pounds in 4 months. But then I noticed that everything was starting to feel really unusually heavy, and I was getting tired a lot easier, which, as you can imagine, disturbed me a little bit. So again, the little alien inside my head started yelling some questions at me. Hey, how do you stop having your body just eat all its own muscle? You lift weights and get protein. Long story short, within basically a year of realizing I was getting obese, I was in the best shape of my life. I went from being a scrawny, 30-something lifelong nerd to being a unusually fit nerd, right? I'm not super buff or anything, but I'm better than average, which is a just wild thing to think about, right? And literally I did that with nothing more than just, I fixed up my diet and started working out. But here's the thing. I was only 40 or 50 pounds overweight, which is not a huge deal, right? I was still living a fairly normal, relatively active life. I wasn't doing anything strenuous, but I was, getting along. And the risk of all that extra weight was pretty minimal, all things considered, because it wasn't all that much in the grand scheme of things, comparatively speaking, right? So basically my read on the situation is that I really didn't need Ozempic, just provably, because Ozempic wasn't even a thing back in 2017, at least not that I'm aware of, and not nearly as big as it is now. So I think that if you are just slightly out of shape the way I was, where your weight is not a huge risk or a huge deal and probably can be solved relatively easily through just willpower, making choices, and taking actions, then yeah, taking Ozempic is probably, ow, that came out a little quicker than I was expecting. Ozempic is probably just a vanity project. It's overkill. It's not something that you really need or should be doing, especially considering the relative risks. Yeah. Getting a little too distracted here. Oh, I thought he was turning to face Ifrit. How did that roar not hit me? Not to get terribly personal, but I do remember, I'm just going to use this as an example, not to go to, name names or overly shame anyone, but I do like to play a lot of Pokemon Go. It's part of the reason I'm in as good a shape as I am right now, is just getting out in the sun a whole bunch and walking a lot. But I remember being in town with a buddy of mine and turning a corner, turning a corner and running directly into an old lady and someone who was either a friend or maybe a daughter, not entirely sure, who was just waddling around like 400 or 500 pounds, just horribly overweight. And there I am, basically wearing nothing but shorts, just, slim, not quite a six-pack or anything, but just very obviously, very close to peak health. And I saw the look on that lady's face, and I was just, I'm not going to lie, I was slightly mortified that I had probably just made her feel very, very bad about herself. Because being that heavy, despite what all the body positivity types have been saying, is not good for you. It's absolutely horrendous. It's hard on every part of your body, especially your joints, your heart, your lungs. Everything is just, think of it as like having ticks of DOT, right? Like every 20 pounds or so overweight you are, you pick up a debuff, a tick of damage. So I only had like 40, 50 pounds, like 2 ticks worth of damage. That's fairly tankable. That lady's walking around with probably 15 dots loaded up on her the entire time, right? Like, she needed to lose weight expeditiously, to the point that simple willpower and just a change in a lifestyle is definitely beneficial, definitely something she should be doing, but it probably wouldn't be enough to resolve her immediate health problems. So like, if you're someone who's really, really big and a doctor says, hey, I don't think you have any of the markers of this stuff not working properly for you, you should probably definitely start taking this, absolutely 100% legitimate choice. Not even going to shame her. Now, on top of all that, she probably should be, fixing up her diet properly, exercising and all that good stuff. So yeah, that does come with an additional, also do all the stuff I did too. But a quick infusion of sort this out now is definitely in order. So yeah, if you're just like a celebrity who lets themselves go after a role and you just don't want to like summon the willpower you almost surely have if you are an actor with any sort of chops. Where is that? I'm gonna take a little shortcut in order to get to that friend. Then yeah, in those cases, I definitely think it's cheating. It's if you're getting an illegitimate prescription, or no, there's the latter. Getting an illegitimate prescription. I almost said subscription again. Or just like buying it off the black market or whatever, yeah, definitely not really the sort of thing you should be doing. Morally dubious. But if you are someone whose health is a real concern in the, with immediacy, then yes. Thank you, friend. Getting some pharmaceutical help in those situations is nothing to be ashamed of. Incidentally, I know other people have said this, but I do absolutely believe this 100%. If you see a horribly out of shape person at the gym, you should make friends with that person. You should absolutely be on that person's side. You should be pushing them to stick with it. Tell them they're doing great. Tell them that's awesome that they're showing up, putting in the work. Never shame someone who's out of shape at the gym. And with that, I think I'll call it pretty much TLDR. Ozempic, is it good? Is it bad? Is it cheating? It depends. Kind of a cop-out answer, but I hope I gave you an explanation of just how coppy I'm feeling today.